Hey everybody, Dakian here, and I'm coming to you with the first episode of this project where I'm going to be doing some actual work on the model. So I'm looking at it and seeing what needs to be done in the way of prep. Now I'm going to start by saying this base piece that the tabs on her feet fit into, sort of, yeah. I'm putting that to one side for now because I'm going to be doing the basing last in this project. And the reason for that is I'm going to put it on a display plinth. I might as well show to you. I have bought one in resin here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this piece onto the plinth and then fill out with other stuff. And I haven't quite decided what to do yet. And for the complete positioning, I want to finish and assemble everything else, including the cloak and the shield and the sword, to see the balance of the composition and where she should be standing on the plinth. And I'm not going to assemble the model fully until it's mostly painted. I think I will probably I'll add the sword one arm on before painting, but we'll see. So, looking at the main portion of the model here, from the front it doesn't look like there's any imperfections at all, but here on the side you can see here's a slight hint of a mold line. And on the same place on the other opposite side, oh, here's a very clear mold line going down the thigh and up here. And on the insides of the thighs, there's also some little, yeah, here's a mold line. And a little bit on the shin there, not as noticeable. And going up, but that's it really on the main body. A little bit here. Most of this I am going to take off with a file. I'm using my trusty half-round file, and I'll be applying very gentle pressure. This has been used well and for a long time, so it's not going to scrape off in a rough fashion. I'm just going to go at it almost just like polishing the surface here, not applying a lot of pressure. And I don't know if you can see the result here. When we get to little places like where it's difficult for the file to reach, I will have to go in with the blade and kind of gently scrape there. Now I'm being really picky. This is an area where not a lot of people are going to be looking. Also, probably I'll have to use the knife here between these two pieces of string, because this is actually a part of the string that's holding her bikini together, or, well, her loincloth. So I have to be careful not to damage that. So I just go in with the knife point and scrape again very, very, very gently. Maybe I can go in with the tip of the file and get a little bit there. Anyway, this is going to be a slow process, and I'm not going to bother showing you all of it on camera. But you can see here, possibly on the thigh, that I've seemed to have removed that mold line. It's not at least as clear anymore. Where was I? Oh yes. When after priming, it'll become very obvious whether I managed to get the mold lines out fully or not. I can try to like angle it towards the light here and see a bit better. And yeah, Anyway, that's that. The cloak, there's not much. There's a mold line here, which I'll take out the same way. And a slight one right here. Really nothing on this side. And then this hole, this is supposed to be a rent in the cloak. I'm gonna have to, yeah, I can punch through that with my knife. You can see from the other side, I can clean that out. And yeah, I'm just gonna clean up the edges of that a little bit. And what's this stuff here? Well, you see, it fits onto the back through these holes. So part of her hair is actually sculpted on here. So this is definitely going to be painted separately and attached after painting. Let's open up this little baggie. Let's see what we have. Okay, so the big thing here is the shield. If there's mold lines on the inside, it's not going to matter very much because this fits onto this arm like so. It's, yeah, this will also need to be painted separately. And what do we have in the way of stuff? There's really nothing here. I'll clean up the edges a little bit. That'll be fine. The sword arm has a slight mold line here on the underside, and one here, which is even slighter. And here we have the scabbard, which is pretty clean. No problems there. So I'll finish cleaning these up, and the scabbard is supposed to hang on her back, something like this. I'm gonna have to look at placement. Oh, is it here? Yeah, that's where it is. No, probably I'll keep that separate. This arm though, this could probably be attached before painting. We'll see. Be back when I've finished this cleanup process. Okay, so after cleaning off the mold lines and then doing just general cleaning with some detergent and hot water, well, warm water, like I always do with all models, to get any dust or grime or grease or whatever away from them. As I said, I glued on this arm, the right arm with the sword, because it is completely clear of the body, which means it's not going to get in the way of anything when painting. And I think the angle was hard to get right, but I think it is correct. And it looks like there's a gap here, but that's actually super glue in that gap that has set. So once paint gets on it, it's not going to appear as a gap, I think. The other two main pieces, well, the scabbard, I decided not to glue on the scabbard because it will rest against a lot of other stuff here on the side, and I want to be able to paint everything under it first. The shield, yeah, nothing special to do there. And again, and the cloak, I cleaned up that hole, I cleaned up the bottom edges, which are frayed, and took off the mold lines. Next step is to prime it. And that will be the last thing I do this episode. So be right back for that. And now she's primed. Sort of light beige color. This is Army Painter Skeleton Bone, one of my favorite primers. And you can see that I've scraped off the primer in the places where it's going to attach to other pieces. And Same here. This part has been kept bare metal. And here on the arm. And even a little point on the scabbard. Now, one disadvantage of this being metal is that this is heavy. This weighs a lot compared to a normal mini. And she doesn't have a very wide stance like many monster minis of this size do. And what this has led to is that it was impossible for me to affix her to a sort of temporary base or holder for painting, which means that I'm going to have to actually hold the miniature itself. I'm going to have to like hold her by the boots when I'm painting the skin, for example, or some such thing. And I'll be touching parts of the model. So I think what I'll be doing is that as I finish each portion, I will seal it, I will varnish it to protect it. And hopefully that will prevent paint from rubbing off as I work on other parts of the model. And also, probably as I get to each area, I'm going to have to touch up the primer a little bit with some brush-on primer. Just because I can already see here, for example, on the high point of the fur here, I've rubbed off the primer. You can see a glint of metal there, just by handling it. But that's fine. I can manage that. So anyway, now she's fully prepped. Next episode, we will get down to painting. And I will probably follow the process of painting from the inside out, which means the skin tones are going to be the first thing you'll see. More on that next time.